Hi everybody, welcome to these videos on Visual Basic, the Express Edition 2008 from Microsoft. Okay, first thing we're going to do is just learn how to basically set up a project. So no surprises really, File, click on File, New Project. And what VB will do is give you an option of creating a various number of types of projects. We're going to just stick with Windows Form Application. By default it should be selected, and you can give it a name. We'll call it my first project. Here we go. Click OK, and this window pops up. The whole area is the IDE, is the Integrated Development Environment for Visual Basic. Now, the first area we want to look at is the Solution Explorer on the right hand side. So there's my first project created, and by default we have a form. We can actually rename that form, so we'll call it my first form. Be careful not to mess up the file extension, the .vb. So now it's my first form.vb, and you'll see this in brackets design. That's the actual mode we're in the design view at the moment. Okay. On the left hand panel we've got our two boxes with all our various controls or objects, if you like. And what we can actually do is we can click on a particular control or object, and we can place it on our form. And that's basically the first video. All we need to get used to is opening a new project. Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome to lesson 2, and I'm going to pick up from where we left off last time. I put a simple button onto the form. I renamed my form. I've saved my project, or created a project, my first project, renamed the form my first form, and put a button on the screen. And I talked about all the controls on the left hand side. If you scroll down, you'll see more controls, common controls. You'll see containers and sort of menus and tools bars. I'm not going to go over them too much, but basically at the moment all Windows form controls are open. So I want to close that, and I want to just keep common controls, because at this level, for the first few lessons, we'll only be looking at basic controls. And I'd already added a button. Now what's important is, if we look across to the right, is this properties area. And if you click on this drop down menu, you will see at the moment the two controls, or my one control and my form, that I have got within this project. And as you click on each of these different controls or forms, you will see that the actual properties panel changes. Okay, now I've already got a name for my form, my first form. If we go back to the button 1, the name for my form is still called button 1. So I'm going to change that to button say hello world. Okay. Now you'll notice that if you look in the actual form, nothing's actually changed. It's like a variable name. It's an identity for the control. So those of you who've already done programming, and you think of variables have an identity, it's a similar kind of thing. Each control has to have an identity, a name basically. Now to change the text within the button, we scroll all the way down to the text area, the text property, and I've changed it to say hello world. Just hit the enter button, and now you will notice that the actual button has actually changed. The say hello world has appeared within the button. Okay. Now to run the program, I simply click on the play button, and Visual Basic, my machine's running a little bit slow by the looks of things. Visual Basic runs the form, there's the form, and if I click on the say hello world button, nothing actually happens. That's because we haven't put any code in behind that button yet. So the next lesson we're going to look at how to put some code in behind that button. So just to recap, on this lesson, your focus is on the properties. and controls. So each control has a set of its own properties, and make sure that you get into the habit very early on of changing names of properties as you add them. The thing that I didn't mention earlier is the prefix. Okay, every control should have a prefix. In the case of a button, it's BTM. Okay, get used to the various prefixes for controls because that's really important in your program. Okay, thank you very much.